Morning, Tank. I'll just do a video while I'm going over this one. So I have just created the little OneDrive link that I mentioned in my previous video. And I'll run through this. So we don't need this section. That's fine. So it's just the body of the scope of works that's required in the scope of works document. Wrong one. Sorry. So in a range type, so that's perfect. So what we're going to do is we're going to swap integrity, because integrity is the software based, more expensive. We're going to change this one to inception. So there's two types of in a range product. We can use the web-based version, which is inception. It's a cheaper option, or we can use the software-based system, which is integrity. So this version, because it's a childcare center, we're going to use the web-based, which means we don't need security PC and workstation. We also don't need software and licenses. So you can start to see how it's becoming a bit cheaper, a bit better value, because we're not having to include everything that we would have to include for a software-based system. Now, because there's no CCTV, we don't need that, and we also don't need that, and we also don't need that, and we also don't need that. So we may have some extra notes that we'll include on there, but for the moment, that's typically all we need for the scope of works. Let's minimize. The other thing is you need to make sure we're saving these into the quote folder, please. So what I'm going to do is I'll go into here quickly so I can jump back a step. Just inside the quote folder, just here, if you could, just save the scope of works into this in there, please. All right, so I'll recopy and paste this information in once I've got it. I'll just open up our drawings. I'm going to assume most of the information that we've got from this one is in here. That note there is something we have to worry about, or just not worry about, but be considerate of. So supply installation of security access control system. The new security access control shall integrate and be an extension of the existing system. Allow to upgrade the existing security access control system to cater for new door controllers and motion detectors prior to purchase installation. So we need to just make sure that we're understanding what's existing and what is what's new, and whether we have to actually include anything. So it does look like there is an existing system just based on what they're including here. Just trying to find any information obviously that might be available to be able to piece this all together. Sometimes it is hard, so yeah, so I can see where this has come. It does raise the question around what in a range type of system. So I may make the change back to integrity depending on the existing system on site. I'm just got the spec open here, so I'm just reading through, and you may have already done this, and that's where you've got in a range integrity from. And I apologise if that's the case. Just double checking there's nothing in this first area of the spec that'll have the information we need. There is notes around keeping the existing security system alive while the works go ahead. So this one might require an RFI to make sure that we are just capturing everything. Yeah, there's nothing additional. So look, this is a hard one, and based on the way that you've done it and the way that the information is available, we're going to make some assumptions. So we're going to change it to an extension to the existing inner range electronic access control system. We're going to make an assumption that there's already a main controller in place, so we don't need to add a main controller. We are going to add door controllers. We're going to add everything we need for our additions. So door controllers with 7 amp hour battery backup. Based on the takeoff, we've also got some PIRs and some reed switches, so we're also going to add in expanders. Now, the card reader, the fact that we don't know the system does make it hard. So we're going to try and find the IT store. We're going to assume that this is, you can see that there's a cable tray running. No. Seeing if there's a exact cable tray reticulated to be coordinated in sight, but there's going to be a cable tray, so we're going to use that cable tray. So we've got one door, so we're going to install a 2-door controller. All right, and this is, so I'll fix these. So in here, if you scale's wrong, so if you change them, if you see them that they're too big, change them to 0.04 times, and they should be the size that you need. So we'll put one of those in there. And also I did go through and fix all these, or I thought I did on the template, but this one, because these were created prior to that, maybe they haven't come through. So the 2-door controller and the 8-zone expander are capturing. So this is a door, so 2 doors. We are going to get rid of, so remember we use monitored mag locks. We don't need to put reed switches on because they're monitored. So double mag lock monitored is the one that we go for. Sorry about these parts, guys. But the double monitored gives us the mag locks and the reed switches, so that's what we're going to use. And that's one door on that 2-door controller, and then the zone expander will capture our zone, so our 2 PIRs and our reed switches. Now this is one zone, though, even though it's 2 reed switches, it's what we would capture this as one zone. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 zones, and that's going to go into our additional 8-zone expander. So that's the takeoff up to date. Just added, oops, wrong button. So obviously if you were doing this prior to pushing it across into Simpro, you could